Iron Man is a superhero who is known for his suit and his immense wealth. Tony Stark's stubborn nature, voluptuousness, and sharp mind made everyone crazy from comics to movies. There was a craze for Iron Man among comics readers, but in Iron Man in 2008, Robert Downey Jr. took the identity of this character to a different level. You are watching the Entertainment Intern, and here are 15 facts you might not know about Iron Man. Number 1. The Iron Man comics were a gamble. Stanley created the character of Iron Man in the 1960s. At that time, the Cold War was going on between the US and the USSR. People were fed up with the war and the military due to this long-running tense situation. Therefore, at such a time, Stanley felt that people would never like to read the adventure stories of a rich man who earns money by selling weapons to the military. But this turned out to be wrong. Comic book readers liked Tony's character very much, and that gamble paid off big time many years before the movie adaptation went through the same success story. Number 2. There's a real-life billionaire behind Tony Stark. The idea for Tony Stark's character did not come to Stanley all of a sudden. Rather, he made Tony's character inspired by 20th century billionaire philanthropist Howard Hughes. Howard Hughes was a scientist, film producer, and record-holder pilot. The character of Tony's father, Howard Stark, was also created based on Howard Hughes. Hughes was one of the most colorful men of the time, Lee explained in an interview. He was an inventor, an adventurer, a ladies' man, and a nutcase. He was incredible. Sounds like a superhero we know. Number 3. Robert Downey Jr. was blatantly rejected for the role of Iron Man. Today it is impossible to imagine Iron Man without Robert. Robert made Iron Man the face of superheroes and superhero movies with his amazing acting. But despite being a very talented actor, in the beginning, Marvel flatly refused to cast Robert for Iron Man. The reason for this was Robert's drug and alcohol addiction, as well as the social image of RDJ was also not good, as he was arrested 6 times for different reasons. But Kevin Feige and Jon Favreau did their best to convince the studios that he was the best option. And as we all know, he got the role. Number 4. Iron Man's origin location is changed. In the first Iron Man movie, Tony's journey as a superhero begins in Afghanistan, where Tony makes his suit for the first time and becomes Iron Man. In the comics, Tony made his Iron Man suit after being captured by rebellions in Vietnam. Obviously, Afghanistan made more sense for a 2008 release, as contemporary viewers, especially young people, would naturally be more familiar with that conflict. Number 5. Jarvis stands for. Tony uses a lot of artificial intelligence to do his tasks. The most important of these AI is Jarvis, which we saw in many Iron Man movies. But Jarvis is not an AI in the Iron Man comics, he's Tony Stark's butler. This can be seen in the series of Agent Carter. But due to its resemblance to Batman and his butler, Jarvis was changed from butler to artificial intelligence in the movies. The full form of Jarvis is just a rather very intelligent system. Number 6. Tony was once a woman. If you're not an avid comic book fan, you might need reminding that the Marvel Universe is, on paper, more difficult to comprehend than all the Game of Thrones family trees combined. It contains many different dimensions, with various versions of the same character doing different things in different timelines. And in one such timeline, Tony happens to be a woman named Natasha Stark, who eventually falls in love with Captain America. Number 7. Tony owns Area 51. The name of Area 51 is always associated with some kind of conspiracy. Sometimes it is claimed to be alien spaceship land, or sometimes it comes to the site of aliens. Whatever the reason, this research site of the US government has always been a source of curiosity among the people. There is also Area 51 in Marvel Comics, but it is owned by Tony Stark, not by the government. In the comics, it was once used by Tony to hide Infinity Gems. Number 8. Tony went to MIT at 15. It's obvious Tony Stark is a brilliant human being, but few people would know that at the age of 17, he obtained a degree in chemical engineering from the world-famous University MIT. Tony took admitted to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology at the age of 15. So although he was born into wealth, the man sure has his own smarts to thank for a major part of his fortune. Number 9. Tom Cruise almost played Tony Stark. Mission Impossible actor Tom Cruise was the first choice for the role of Iron Man, and he was cast, but Tom left the project due to creative difficulties. Although Tom is a great actor who would probably have done a pretty good job as the superhero, we can't imagine anyone other than Robert to play the Tony we know and worship. We're thankful he was the final choice. Number 10. Iron Man joined the Guardians. In the comics, at some point in his Avengers career, Tony Stark decides to team up with none other than the Guardians of the Galaxy. Why? Because he is just too damn fascinated by alien technology and outer space. Which, knowing Tony's love for innovation, shouldn't come too much as a surprise. Number 11. Iron Man has a suit for every occasion. Although we almost only see Tony Stark in his trademark red and gold suit in the movies, the inventor has about 53 different suits for different environments, including an underwater one. If this fact tells us anything, it's that good preparation is key, and Tony is overly ready. Number 12. The first Iron Man movie was a risky bet. This is hard to imagine today, but making a superhero movie was not always a safe choice. In fact, in the early 2000s, it was the equivalent of wanting to make a traditionally animated movie today. Even if it had the potential to work, the cost behind the production was likely to surpass the box office gains. This is why it took Marvel 16 years to develop Iron Man before the 2008 movie was finally released into the wild. It ended up making the studios so much money, and even kickstarted the biggest cinematic universe ever created. Number 13. Iron Man once had roller skates. One thing that happened in the comics and must never be forgotten is that the Iron Man suit once had retractable roller skates. Yes, you heard that right. In the 1970s, the creators added skates purely because it was all the rage with young people at the time. It bit strange for a suit that gives you the ability to fly. The idea was eventually dropped anyway. Number 14. Captain America taught him to fight. Here's a fact that makes us admire Captain America even more. In the comics, Tony Stark asked Captain America to teach him how to fight so that he would be able to defend himself without the suit. If that's not friendship, we don't know what is. But now we can't help but feel the bitter irony of that fight scene in the Civil War. Number 15. Stanley couldn't write Iron Man's first comic appearance. Stanley was a busy man, and even if he came up with the character himself, it was Larry Lieber who wrote Tony's first appearance in Tales of Suspense, while Jack Kirby illustrated it. These were 15 facts you might not know about Iron Man. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you know some other cool facts about Iron Man, share them in the comments section. Subscribe to the Entertainment Intern for more videos like this.